Hello and welcome to another episode of Your World. This week host with me, Adrian Arikusumo, and now let's begin with our first segment of the day with the news from Gaza. Let's have a look. In this segment, we have some updates from Gaza, which to increase access to the maternal health care, UNFPA has stationed a mobile maternity unit at Al-Mawasi Field Hospital in Rafah. Also, April 2024 is the 11th straight month to beat the global heat records. Stay tuned only on Your World. The 7-month war in Gaza has brought immense suffering, with communities devastated, homes destroyed, and lives shattered. Now the threat of famine and disease looms large. Rafah, a city housing nearly 1.2 million people, 5 times its usual population, is at the heart of the crisis. Displaced multiple times, its residents face desperate conditions, limited access to food, medical care, and shelter. Despite major hospitals lying in ruins and health facilities not operational, Rafah's Al-Hilal Al-Mirati maternity hospitals remain operational, albeit strained. Pregnant women endure malnutrition, dehydration, and stress, leading to premature birth and unhealthy babies. To address the urgent need for maternal health care, UNFPA has deployed a mobile maternity unit to the Al-Mawasi Field Hospital in Rafah, providing essential service for normal deliveries and obstetric complications. Additional units stand ready in Egypt to offer life-saving care for women in Gaza. For pregnant and breastfeeding women in Gaza, trauma overshadows joy. Without prenatal and postnatal care, newborn face grim prospects, while malnutrition hampers breastfeeding efforts. The release of all hostages is crucial to ending this nightmare for women and newborns in Gaza. As hostilities escalate in Rafah, situated in the southern region of the Gaza Strip, a significant number of families, accompanied by their children, are compelled to hastily flee their residences and seek sanctuary in the areas deemed safer. Reports from the United Nations Children's Fund or UNICEF underscore the severity of the situation, emphasizing the mounting difficulties faced by the UNICEF personnel in providing essential aid to children across the Gaza Strip. Accessing critical supplies and delivering much-needed assistance has become progressively more arduous and hazardous amidst this escalating conflict. Copernicus, the Earth observation arm of the European Union space program, announced that April 2024 marked the 11th consecutive month to surpassing global temperature records. Graphics displayed the April 2024 data compiled by the ECMWF or European Center of Medium-Range Weather Forecast, which manages the Copernicus Climate Change Service or C3S on behalf of the European Union. Carlo Buontempo, director of the Copernicus Climate Change Service or C3S, remarked the El Niño reached its peak at the start of the year, and sea surface temperatures in the eastern tropical Pacific are now returning to neutral conditions. However, while temperature fluctuations associated with natural cycles like El Niño come and go, the additional energy trapped in the ocean and atmosphere due to the rising concentration of greenhouse gases will continue to drive global temperatures towards new records. In numerous African nations, extended dry spells and droughts are taking a toll, while others are reeling from the tragic consequences of flooding, including loss of lives and displacement. Recognizing the severity of the climate-related challenges, the United Nations Office on Disaster Risk Reduction or UNDRR is calling for heightened media engagement. During the inaugural AUB Regional Media Summit on Climate Change in Nairobi, Kenya, UNDRR Head of Content and Channels, Fanny Langella, underscored the vital role for the media in addressing the climate change impact. Langella emphasized the effective communication and information dissemination are paramount for risk reduction and the preservation of lives in the face of current disasters. She urged media outlets to maintain active conversation on these pressing issues to foster greater awareness and mobilize collective action towards the climate resilience. In numerous African nations, extended dry spells and droughts are taking a toll, while others are reeling from the tragic consequences of flooding, including loss of lives and displacement. Recognizing the severity of the climate-related challenges, the United Nations Office on Disaster Risk Reduction or UNDRR is calling for heightened media engagement. During the inaugural AUB Regional Media Summit on Climate Change in Nairobi, Kenya, UNDRR Head of Content and Channels, Fanny Langella, underscored the vital role for the media in addressing the climate change impact. Langella emphasized the effective communication and information dissemination are paramount for risk reduction and the preservation of lives in the face of current disasters. She urged media outlets to maintain active conversation on these pressing issues to foster greater awareness and mobilize collective action towards the climate resilience.
In this segment, we have variety stories from home, one of which is Indonesian movies being at the center of the Far East Film Festival or FEFF 2024 in Udine, Italy. Let's have a look.
The Far East Film Festival, or FEFF 2024, screened several Indonesian movies and hosted the Indonesian Cinema Night on Monday, April 29, 2024. At Casa Contadinanza Castle Udine, Italy. Indonesia had the honor to host the Indonesian Cinema Night at Far East Film Festival. The Indonesian Cinema Night was made possible thanks to collaboration of Director General of Music, Film and Media at the Ministry of Education, the Association of Indonesian Movie Producers or APROFI, and Udine Far East Film Festival. The Cinema Night featured several outstanding Indonesian movie producers like Mira Lesmana, Riri Reza, Jeffrey Nicole, Jajang Sinur, Christine Hakim, Angga Dwi Mas Sasongko, Taufan Adrian, Jason Iskandar, and many more. The Indonesian night invited 300 guests from various countries. Among the movies screened at the festival are 13 Bom di Jakarta, Kereta Berdarah,
Kereta Api Sangkara dengan rute ke Resort Sangkara,
Ali Topan that were competed in the festival Kuldesak,
Jalanan adalah tempat gua menaklukkan kekalahan-kekalahan yang gak pernah mereka menangkan.
Surat untuk Bidadari, and Cut Nyak Din that were included in the retrospective program. As a backgrounder, Far East Film Festival is the biggest platform to showcase Asian and European film ecosystem. It has attracted audiences and filmmakers from the two continents.
The performance to Drew Tucker and the New Standards in Jakarta celebrated the US-Indonesia diplomatic ties and the International Jazz Day. Drew Tucker from Drew Tucker and the New Standard expressed their appreciation on the warm welcome of Indonesians. Tucker highlighted the importance of the aspiration exchange between his band, Indonesian musicians, and Indonesian music fans.
it doesn't matter. We may not be able to say anything, but as soon as we get on stage, we're able to connect. And so if someone knows music and wants to travel and wants to share and wants to go between America and Indonesia or wherever somebody wants to travel, and they know how to play music, they'll always have friends and be able to make friends because of that shared language of music. And so what I hope is that Indonesia and America continue to grow, continue to share, because there's so much that the Indonesian culture can teach us in terms of art.
Tucker emphasized that the music played an important role in creating positive impact in the communities, as music can become connect and building communities. The performance of Drew Tucker and the New Standards also featured Indonesian singer Nesia Ardi, who was considered as a guest of honor to the band.
Oh, well, we get to perform with Nesia, who's a local Indonesian singer, amazing singer, and so we're really honored, and we were blown away by her skill and talent, so this is a rare honor for us to get to perform with somebody who I don't know if she would say this, but I think she's an international superstar. So I'm really excited to be able to perform with her and share with her, and to be able to take some of that knowledge and good vibes back to America with us.
Apart from the performing in Jakarta, Drew Tucker and the New Standard will also travel to other cities in Indonesia and collaborate with local musicians, universities, and music schools that can build entrepreneurial skills through music.
When launching the exhibition entitled Tempatan, chairman of the Museum and Gallery Agency, Pustanto appreciated the event, which shows creativity of female artists and is even more special since it focuses on the month of April, known as the month of arts for Indonesian artists. Pustanto explained April is named as the month of arts because April 21 is the birthday of Raden Ajeng Kartini, a female Indonesian heroine who is fond of painting. Meanwhile, April 23 is the death of Raden Saleh, a famous painter. The date was later designated as the Day of Fine Arts. Although it's not been formalized as the Day of Fine Arts, many artists still celebrate April 23 by holding exhibitions and workshops on painting, craft, sculpture, and others. The Tempatan exhibition was prepared for 2 years as the event features 25 female artists from Empu Gampingan community to educate the public, especially art lovers, that women are capable to pursue the art world, which has mostly involved men. Pustanto also appreciated the female artist community for the works and messages conveyed through arts. He said that the Tempatan exhibition is a great contribution by women artists to the success of Indonesian culture through works of art with various stories and deep meanings. The Tempatan exhibition is open to the public from May 2 to 16, 2024 at the National Gallery in Central Jakarta, along with various workshops such as hand weaving, eco-print, mixology, painting and embroidery, and wooden batik.
In the response to the condition of aviation industry affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, Indonesia has made significant adjustment to its international airport network. From the original 34 airports that had international status, now only half of it, or 17 airports, retain the status. This decision was stipulated by the Minister of Transportation Decree No. 31, year 2024, issued on April 2, 2024. This reflects the government effort to optimize the operation and the development of the national aviation sector. Transportation Minister Budi Karya Sumadi emphasized that the move is the part of the government's strategy to prioritize and strengthen the domestic aviation industry, considering that only few airports are effectively serving international flights. The government made the decision not only to respond to the decline of the number of foreign passengers due to the pandemic, but also as a part of the long-term strategy to strengthen the domestic air connectivity. The airports retaining international status will be designated as the primary hubs to support the overseas flights.
And now let's continue with various stories from around the world. Romani in Turkey's Edirne province are celebrating a colorful Kakava festival. Meanwhile in China, a Chinese-developed robotic dog could enhance accessibility for the visually impaired people, especially in the era of the artificial intelligence. Let's have a look.
Kakava Festival, a version of Hidrles celebrated by the Romani community in the Turkic world and Balkans, marks spring's arrival in northwestern Edirne. The Romani people believe that the arrival of spring alone will bring peace, health, and prosperity throughout the year, and they eagerly await the start of the celebrations on May 5th. Members of the community have started a feverish Kakava cleansing process, which involves washing clothes, cleaning carpets, painting houses, and preparing money bags to be left under rosewood trees. Every year, numerous participants take part in the traditional Romani Kakava festival. The festival starts by lighting the traditional Kakava fire and continues round the clock with music and dances. Thousands of tourists from all over the country and abroad participate in the different events. The Kakava Hidrles Festival was included on the UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage List of Humanity in 2017. This year again, as part of the program, a concert and folk dance performance was held on the first day of festivities. Julia Bottoms, along with poet Gillian Hainsworth, met with survivors of the victims and asked them questions. They were particularly interested in who their loved ones were and what made them unique. The portraits, full of love and grief, prove it. The still lives mercilessly reveal the daily struggle with racism. Julia Bottoms has been given a prestigious platform at the Buffalo AKG Art Museum from which to draw attention as an artist to the persistent inequalities in American society. The exhibition is running until September 30th. 7 years ago, Julia Bottoms participated in painting portraits of black figures in the fight for equal rights at the Freedom Wall, which has become a popular spot in Buffalo. She is the artist behind the painting of the iconic Martin Luther King. She is also drawing great anticipation for her completed commission for a statue of a political legend, the first black congresswoman, Shirley Chisholm. Chisholm was the first woman in America to seek the presidential nomination in 1972. In Buffalo, where Theodore Roosevelt's presidential inauguration took place, a statue of a black female presidential candidate will be another milestone in the historic legacy of the fight for equal rights for a younger generation of African Americans. The unveiling is expected in late summer. Visiting from France, this is Maryse Dante-Thérèse's first time tasting Huey's specialties, such as savory steamed rice cakes and flat steamed rice dumplings. According to statistics, Vietnam has about 1,700 dishes, of which up to 1,300 are from Huey. Huey's cuisine is enriched with royal cuisine, traditional cuisine, and vegetarian cuisine. Huey's culinary offerings are a significant draw for the ancient capital's tourism. To capitalize on this resource for tourism development, the locality has been implementing long-term plans to preserve and promote the unique value of Huey's cuisine. The ultimate goal is to enhance the province's strong tourism brand and make it even more appealing to tourists.
A Chinese-developed robotic dog could help bridge the severe shortage of guide dogs in China, enhancing accessibility for the visually impaired in the age of artificial intelligence. Pioneered by engineers at Shanghai Jiaotong University, the dog features a unique six-leg design, as well as advanced navigation and safety features. During a field test by the Yangpu River, 41-year-old Li Fei experienced the assistance of guide dog for the first time. The robot demonstrated fluid movements such as advancing, stopping, and turning, and reacting instantaneously to nearby pedestrians and obstacles. Researchers noted that the robotic guide dog does not need a constant internet connection because it can indefinitely memorize a route once learned. Mimicking the capabilities of a real dog, it is equipped with 4 senses: hearing, sight, speech, and touch. With more than 17 million visually impaired people in China, the development of robotic guide dogs could significantly improve mobility and independence for many. A home-ground passenger-carrying electric unmanned aerial vehicle or UAV model has entered mass production in South China's Guangdong province, with plans to deploy the aircraft as flying taxis later this year. Developed by Chinese drone maker Ehang, the EH216S, capable of accommodating 2 adults without a pilot on board, offers short to medium distance, low-altitude mobility solutions for urban transportation needs. It has wide potential applications in fields like passenger transportation, air tours, air logistics, and medical emergency response. Following approval by the Civil Aviation Administration of China, or CAAC, on April 7, mass production commenced at the factory located in Guangdong's Yunfu City, with a target of achieving an annual production capacity of 600 units. It is the first time the country's aviation authority has issued a production certificate for an autonomous passenger drone, as well as the first such certificate in the global electric vertical takeoff and landing industry. Previously, the EH216S had obtained the type certificate and standard airworthiness certificate from the authority.
We hope you enjoyed for today's episode of Your World. I'm Adrian Arikusumo. Thanks for watching and see you next week.